Not happening. Shimon Gamliel says what? He says, "B'medvar mamurim." When is that true? That this whole idea that he's only going to apply the amount that he put up. When he said that the money I'm going to put up is going to acquire the whole thing. So that doesn't work. You can't put that 100 and say that you're closing the deal for 1,000. Okay, when he tries to say the 100 is buying, is acquiring the deal. But if the guy sold his friend a field for 1,000 the guy paid 500, paid 500, then what? Okay, he really does acquire the whole field, okay, and they can't go back. What's the shy? He has to give the other 500. When he said something that made no sense, that the 100 buys the field, the down payment buys the field, you're right, it doesn't, because they can't. There's not enough money. Paid it works, okay. If you and can pay back the other 500 even after a couple of years. You see clearly, Rosh Gamliel holds what? That even if you don't rush it, we just have a contradiction. Before Rosh Gamliel told us the way to guarantee the sale, he has to have the guy write down then all the rest of the money that he didn't put down as a loan, and it's if he got it, etc. Okay, good. But you see, Rosh Gamliel says clearly, if you do make a down payment, it's fine. The deal's closed, and he owes him the rest of the money. What's the
implication is he would hold that it's simply a large deposit?
Yeah, any deposit. Yeah, down payment. Down payment. You make a down payment, it's done. That's all. We should hold you. You pay those. Since we're not going to hold the bet, so to speak, the outrageous claim. So therefore, whatever you put money down, you own. It buys the whole thing. As long as he didn't say something ridiculous. If he said my 100 buys the 1,000, that doesn't work. It's ridiculous. 100 can't pay for 1,000. But if you paid the 100 on a deal of 1,000, the deal's closed. So you see where Shimon holds. You don't have to write a whole extra clause in a document to make it happen. The guy pays some money. As long as he speaks normally, it's done. You paid down payment, it's good. It's not a contradiction. If Shimon in one place said that the 100 closes the deal, one place it doesn't. Oh, okay. When he said what? Oh, when did he say what? That only if you write up the whole paper to close the deal, it's closed. This is the question. What we see that the seller is constantly coming trying to collect the money. This guy really needs cash, and therefore he was selling because he needs cash. And therefore, it's implicit. It's implicit. We see it from his behavior. It's implicit that he's only selling to get the money. Therefore, the deal's not closed until he gets the money. This guy wants money. He wants cash. And until he gets the money, it's not closed. Okay, so that's when we see the guy is fretting over the money, trying to collect it every single second. There, Rosh Hashanah said, if you haven't written in the contract, then it doesn't close the deal because it's clear that this guy didn't want to close unless he gets the money. Okay. Oh, okay. But the other case, when he said what, that the deal is closed even with the down payment. Look, we don't see the seller's behavior shows that he only was making the deal to get the cash. He's relaxed. He's ready to get the money. So therefore, what? That's a normal case, and the deal is closed with a down payment. The person is selling something to his friend, and we see that the seller is fretting, is coming constantly to make his collection locally. So then the deal's not closed until the person actually pays for the whole thing. But if the seller is not fretting, is not running in and out trying to get the money, the behavior, you see that he's willing to take the down payment to close the deal, then the deal is closed. So that's a very important principle. We can tell those by now. How do we evaluate? Okay, that's what we have to talk about it. But we see by the behavior of the seller whether it was implicit that he's not selling till he gets all the money or not. If it's not, if it wasn't implicit, so then it wasn't implicit. So then the deal closes when you make the down payment. If it was implicit in his behavior that he wants cash, that's the only he's desperate for cash. So then it's clear that the deal's not closed until you pay all the money, unless you wrote into the paper that the deal closes even though you didn't pay all the money. So that's the point. If you write into the paper the balances, you write in the balances alone. You're right at the balances alone. But the real point is that you have the seller say the deal's closing even though he didn't get his money. Because he's a guy who we know is trying to get money. It's implicit that he doesn't want to sell. Okay, that we're going to talk about. But remember, money for money is not a problem. if I owe you 8 and I pay you 8, that's not a problem with business. Okay, money. We don't, even though we talk about money going up, and the price of that. If it's money, it doesn't go up. That's all years old. And it's true. You should have been with me those years. We had so much fun. Every 2 minutes, everybody wrote their thesis on whether Israeli money was money at all. Tons of people held it's not money at all. Some people held the only real money in Israel was dollars. Other people held that the currency of Israel was dollars. Yes, they never had any currency anyway. It was nothing. It was a whole joke. You see, we have to talk. But money, by definition, doesn't change value. If it's money, everything else changes value. Commodity, everything else is a commodity changes value. If this is money, it's always the same value. I tell you, one of my favorite things. I say, but no. So the dollar's always if a dollar is money, a dollar is always a dollar, and everything else changes. There's an interesting point. And I quoted you so that Fison has a beautiful, it sounds a beautiful, beautiful about the meaning of Kriya Shema, how to translate the Shema, which is it's very problematic. The first sentence Shema is a very confusing sentence. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Yes. What are you saying? Is it anyway? So one of the problems is, so you say, look, Hashem, Elokeinu, Hashem. You know, so it's what's going on. So where Fison says, listen, all the names of God have only one translation. Every name of God has the same translation. What that is? God. Every name of God, the translation is God. There's no other translation for the name of God. Yeah, I know. He says the translation of every name of God is good. Good. He's going to say, so you're going to say, so you're going to have to say what? You're going to say, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, a God, unser God, God, our God. You know, it's always the same word. Is it Isaac or God? Good. It's always the same word. Anyway, money's always money. If a dollar is money, you'll write your paper. But if a dollar is money, then a dollar is always worth a dollar. You see, it doesn't change. So there's no interest on money. If you pay, as long as if I pay the same sum that I borrowed, it's always fine. Okay. Furthermore, if a guy lent a guy, let's say, he lent him 100 Jews. And he's paying them off one at a time. Poor guy, but lent him $100, he's paying $1, another dollar. He says, yeah, here on Hobby. Okay, you can't, he paid it. It's called payment. Oh, the Eastern Term was going to, the guy's a lot of complaining to him. Like, I'm going to says to him, he says, he says, you disturbed $100. $100 and a dollar. I never got my $100 back. You're right. Legally, I got it back, but you killed me. You know, so I never got the money. Who got with a certain person here it has to mean, because Rashi goes out of it has to mean a donkey. It's a thing that has to be indivisible. The guy a guy sold a donkey to his friend. And the guy paid him most of the money. Partially, he paid him everything except for $1. One zuz left over. I have enough with that zuz, but the guy you can see from his behavior, he's fretting, coming in and out, trying to collect the money. Rashi was analyzing. In such a case, what's the law? Maybe he paid him everything down except for the last $1. So now you told me a principle before the guy's fretting, the deal doesn't close until he pays the money. Here, he's fretting over the money, but the guy, come on, he left over $1. Did it make a difference? He says, he says, listen, I have a tradition from Rabbi Ron in the name of Rabbi. This is what he taught. Okay, that the principle of Zuza Kazuzi. One zuz is like many zuz. Kazuzi dummy. One zuz is like multiple zuzim. It doesn't work. The principle that when the guy shows by his behavior that he doesn't want to close the deal until he gets the money, it's down to the last buck. Once we say he's not closing until he gets the money, it doesn't make a difference. $100, $200, $1. It gets down to the last thing. One second, but didn't we say the name of Rabbah that what? That I heard the opposite way, that it's only down to $1 cunning. The deal does go through. Amalei says to Tagish myself, he says, what you heard has to be amended. It's not true. The truth is that what? The truth is until he gets the last $1 doesn't close. When he said what? When he said that if it's down to the last $1, the deal does close. That's talking about the that's talking when a guy sold a field because it's a bad field, okay? Not because he needs money. The field's no good. The guy wants to upgrade his property. And the guy sold it, remember, not every transaction is for the sake of business. You know what I'm saying? for the sake of business. They said sometimes transaction. He wants to trade up. He says if a guy's selling a field because it's a bad field, so therefore what he really wants to sell it, and even though he doesn't get everything, and I spreading over it, that's because he's afraid that the guy's going to back out. And therefore, Rubber says in such a case, in such a case, even though I didn't pay the last dollar, it's closed. Why? Because it doesn't make a difference. The guy really wants to sell the field, and it's not, and he's running it, and he doesn't want to get it back up, but he's trying to upgrade the field. He's not trying to get money. When the guy's trying to get money, what? Down to the last buck. Okay? When he's not trying to get money, he's trying to upgrade. It's not, the last buck is not a problem. Instead, the deal's closed. I must have cheated. But there's a good the guy wants to sell something for $100. Well, he couldn't sell anybody. He couldn't find anybody to be able to buy the field for $100. There's nothing in my sign. Instead, he went out. He needed money. The guy wanted money, wanted $100. He tried to sell a $100 field. He can't find any buyers for it. So what does he do? He takes a $200 field that there are buyers for. He needs 100. So he takes the 200 field. I will not because he sold the 200, and now he's fretting over the money. So what do we say? Now. Lokani, he said what? He says that's clear that he's not selling. Why? And they can back off. Why? Because he only sold it because he needed the money. And he never was selling it unless he got the money. Now you have a kashi to say for 1 second. But he got the 100 that he was looking for, right? Remember, he was looking for 100. You have to realize that what? He says because he's saying, listen, you're making a mistake. Since I'm not communicating. He needed 100. So usually when a guy needs the money, the deal doesn't close till he gets the money. Here, he couldn't find a buyer at a field for 100. He sold a $200 field, and let's say he got 100, dude. So why is the deal not closed? He got his money. Why is the deal not closed? Because the answer because listen, he didn't want to let go of 200. He wants that money invested. So he didn't want to liquidate $200. He wanted to liquidate $100. So when he sold the two, it was on condition. He still wants the money because he wants to be able to go back and put the 100 back into a field. So don't get fooled and think since he got the 100 that he tried for originally, everything's fine. It's not true. He didn't want to liquidate $200. He wanted to liquidate 100. So therefore what? Therefore the deal still doesn't close. That I know. Al-Iban is a good Ibn. Let's say I wanted to sell a field for $100. The last guy, I couldn't find a buyer. But if he really would put out effort, he could have found it. If he really would have redoubled his efforts, he could have found a buyer. Tark was up, but he didn't. Was up lost side. But he did take the trouble to extra work to find a buyer for it, and he sold for two. And again, he's spreading over the money. Now what's the law? Because now I know. Why am I down? Did I say in this case? Then what? He's really like the guy who sold the field because the field's no good. And it's not like he was trying to get money. Because he wouldn't have sold the big field. Rather what? If he really needed money, he wouldn't have sold the big field. He would have taken the trouble to sell the small one. And since he do that, must be what? He's just selling because it's not such a good field, not because he needs the money. And therefore, I can say what? That the deal's closed, even let him pay everything. Oh, no, maybe I say not so. It's not really like selling because it was there. Because since he wanted to sell the small one because he needed 100 Jews, and because it was just too much trouble, he sold the big one. Take that thing must have been on. It's hard to evaluate from his behavior to just look at the behavior and decide what it is. I was just involved today. It's a very interesting problem. There certain things we have guarantees today. Jews are used to looking on a label and knowing if something was kosher. That was never the case for all of our history. That was not the case. There was no such thing as kosher seals and labels. Everybody knew. You knew how food was made, and everybody was able to make a judgment according to the ingredients and norms. We followed norms. What's the norm? They usually do it. They don't do it, etc. That was the norm. You follow by the norm. Today, people have gotten out of the habit of knowing how to evaluate what happens normally. You know what I'm saying? Because everything's on the. We always got 65 kashrus organizations with a symbol. Yeah. So it's gone out of fashion to know. Yeah, if you know the norms of the behavior. The truth is, in all honesty, just to be honest with you, I believe today you have to do that. Why is that? Because the world has changed. When I was little, when you were little, food processing was much simpler than it is today, and it was easy for even a normal person to know what the norm was in food processing, etc. Today, it's chemists. It's done in labs. Seriously, flavoring all this stuff. So if you're not a cautious professional, so to speak, it's very unlikely that you'll ever have any idea what's really in the product. Just to be honest with you, once things have changed, they really change. Because the average person has no way of knowing, what's in a product. And just to give you an example of a shocker, don't worry about it because I don't think it's common enough to worry about. Usually salt, you think, salt, what's the problem with salt? Now, you remember Morton salt? You remember the advertisement for Morton, when it rains, it pours? Well, what was the reason? Because the biggest problem with salt is that it clumps together. So their pride and joy is that their salt doesn't clump together. Here in Florida, the best salt clumps together, because it's so humid. So anyway, so one of the big things in salt, one of the big things, if you're a salt manufacturer, what's the big deal today? It's easy to find salt's cheap today. It's easy to find salt. The big deal is your salt doesn't clump together. So you have an anti-caking agent. So usually it's a lot of problems. The guy comes into the factory. I heard the guy talk about it. He goes to the factory. Says one guy got a big head. He's putting glycerin on. He's spraying glycerin onto the salt before it goes into the oven. Whoop! Wait a second. That stuff's sometimes not kosher. He said very rare. I don't think you have to worry about it. You have to know. If nobody's watching, you understand? Every minute, everybody's trying to figure out a way to do what they're doing more cheaply. You understand? Everybody got 10 chemists on their staff. You understand? And flavor experts to figure things out. So today it's really not. But anyway, back to the ranch. The norm was for thousands of years. You know what norms are. You know what to do. You know the norm. Over here, the point was we're judging a contract on the basis of what? On the basis of norms. The normal case of when a guy behaves in such and such a way, we understand that was implicit in the contract. When he behaves another way, it was not implicit in the contract. That's really the point. This last case, we didn't have a way to read it. We can't get a read on it. You understand? On this last case, and that's why it's a takeaway. There's no way to evaluate. So far as a farmer was a carpenter, our Mishnah continued to say, "Well, if you hire a donkey driver to bring fine pieces of wood, that's a kadar, or you hire the wagon driver to bring flutes, for the weddings or for the funerals, etc. In all these cases, and they backed off. So he said, what? We said finally, according to all opinions, if it's something that's lost, that's going to be lost. No, you're going to be ruined if they don't do the job when they said they would. You can actually have a loss. So Carlin, you're allowed to hire more expensive workers and make them pay for it. Maton, you're allowed to fool them, tell them you're going to pay them more and not pay them. Okay, I come. Okay, I come to Carlin. How much more can you hire other workers for? How much more can you pay? How can you hire the workers more expensive and still charge the original workers who backed out? Rav Nachman says actually this is fine. Only up to the amount that you owe them. Remember, if they did 50% of the work, then you can add 50%. You understand? You can add that 50% to what you hire the other workers to finish the job and take away all their money. But you can't hire workers for more expensive, more than what you owe the original worker. Really? He says you can't do more. Didn't we learn? Remember we learned yesterday in the Brisa. I don't remember we said we can go up to 40, 50 zoos. You can go up a lot. That's a lot of money. He said, my lady says, no, Kitanya, he says that's when the guy has their tools, he has their tool chest in his hand. He has their stuff in the hand. When he has their stuff in his hand, so then what? So then he's able to go much higher because he has their stuff in his hand. He's in possession. Now, this is a very beautiful piece. The rest of the day is like this. We have a problem when people change their instructions, and we have a few possibilities. We can punish a person for not following instructions, or we can say that there is a change in status when a person doesn't follow instructions. Now, just to tell you something that's not today's law, but I'm interested. The last 30, 40 years, we've had a big problem with intellectual property. One of everybody's in a consternation how to handle intellectual property, and it's similar here. Let's say I buy a Picasso. I paid a lot of money for Picasso. Can I make lithographs and sell them to everybody? Picasso says, "What are you doing?" So you sold me the painting. Get out of here. I paid you $10,000, $100,000 for this painting. It's my painting. I can put it on the cover of Time magazine. I can sell it. I can put it. It's mine. I bought the painting. You tell me I bought the painting. You're going to control it? Who told you? That's why it's a problem. With copyright's a little bit of a problem. You sold me a book. I can't. I bought a book. Let me copy it. Okay, so it's a big problem. You say when I buy a product, who says I can't use it? What I paid you. I paid you. So you have a lot of problems. You understand how once I pay you for a product, how can I do it? So they used to have a joke. The joke all the companies outside of Israel used to hate Israel because they would say in Israel you only sell one copy of the program. That was you sell one software and that's it for the whole country. Is it that was always the joke? Here, wait a minute, I paid you for the software. It's mine. I paid you for the software. Now I'm going to give it to all my cousins, my neighbors, my uncle. What do you mean? I'm going to be a bad guy now? My relatives? What are you talking about? So who said I can't? Who said I can't? So in the Jewish law, we have a big problem here. Even though the rabbis used to write all kinds of things, they're part of a safer, don't copy, etc. They're good. The rabbis had reasons. But who said you sold me a book? It's my book. Let me do what I want. So one of the ways to, regardless of what the stam case is, without anything, we have a simple way to solve the problem. And it's very much my teacher Sammy told me is it solved. But one of the ways to solve the problem is always the sale condition. And they say, I'm selling you this. This is my intention and stuff. If you don't follow my instructions, retroactively the sale is canceled and you have stolen the property. I'm selling you this object to a condition that you follow my instructions. If you don't, the sale is canceled, and what you have in your hand is stolen. That's a good way to protect your property. You see what I'm saying? Either I'm selling you this to condition you do what I said. If you don't do what I said, retroactively the sale is canceled, and you are and my object in your hands is stolen. Okay, yes, we have to look. I'm saying this is a way. This is a, so to speak, in Jewish law, a way that, so to speak, I can control it. I say, listen, only selling this on this condition. You break the condition, what you have is stolen. I didn't sell you. Okay, now we're going to talk about everything but that today. Yeah, in a normal circumstance, sometimes if a person, let's say I give somebody something, and they change the instructions, I can say you're a thief. You're a thief. Here, why is that? Here, like we learned yesterday, we're going to do it today. I'll give you something to dye red, and you dyed it black. I gave to dye black, you dyed red. When you didn't follow instructions, you took my wool and dyed it the wrong way. You stole. You're a thief. You didn't follow. You didn't do what I said. You stole my thing, and you acquired it by changing it, and you're going to pay it back. Oh, that's one way. Another one say I'm going to punish you. I can punish you for not following instructions. That's another story. You can discuss it. Maybe I'll punish you. But that's a different rule of time here. Punishment is a fine. Okay, we're going to punish the guy. But that's the difference. So now, that being said, we're going to look now on one more thing. Sometimes when a person changes the instructions, so here they are going to be responsible for damages because they changed the contract. So let's take a look. That's the last thing. Maybe they told you you'll see it's going to come up. Okay, a guy rented a donkey with okay to when they spoke about it, they said that he's gonna be using it. He's gonna be taking it up the mountain. Okay, he says he's gonna take it up the mountain. But instead, he took the rented donkey and used it in the valley. There's 2 points of the mountain. The mountain one, the air is cooler, but it's harder to get up and down, right? And the valley is flat, but it's hot. The valley's hot. Okay. But he took a thing to take to the valley, and he took it to the mountain. The zoo estimate, even if he's the same amount of walking, or even less, umesa, and the animal just died. So the renter has to pay for the donkey. Okay, we're going to discuss it. Okay, now. And we're talking where he said to him, listen, I'm giving you to take in the mountain, or giving you to take in or in the valley. He's responsible. Another thing, if he gave it to him to take on the mountain, and he took it into the valley, but instead of just dying, if it slipped, okay, he's exempt. Why? Because since he had a right to take it to the mountain where it was likely to slip, so what's the difference? If it slipped in the mountain, he doesn't have to pay. Now if it slipped in the valley, he doesn't have to pay. But what if it overheated? Okay, if it overheated, that's not done. Fine, then he has to pay. Why? Because the air in the valley is hot compared to the air in the mountain. If he gave it to him he rented it to him to take in the valley, and he took it on the mountain. Okay, if it slipped high, he's obligated, right? Because the mountain he changed, and he's obligated for what? For taking the place where it's going to slip. But let's say it got hot on the mountain. Putter is exempt. Why? Because since he took it to take to the valley, what was going to get hot anyway, if it got hot, if it got fatigue from heat, heat, whatever it is, so therefore what? He's exempt because he was exempt anyway. Okay, imam samala, but what? But if okay, but if it got hot okay from the air, the mountain is exempt. If it got hot because of the climb, of the incline, fine, then he's obligated because that was his responsibility. Now, so can Sahama over Hibrika. Now, Hibrika, we're gonna have an argument later on. Either the animal has trouble seeing, or the animal has trouble walking because of words. But either way, the animal works, but he's very slow. The animal's gonna the animal's gonna carry the load, but it's gonna be very much slower than it was before. Oshinase Sangaya. He rented the animal became slow. Okay, or he rented it, and the government commandeered the animal. Okay, Omerlo, he says to him, sorry, he says, he says, listen, you're right. Your job slowed down, but it still works. The donkey's still there. You'll wait till you get it back from the government, or you'll wait till you have to do slower. If I gave you a donkey that doesn't work, okay, so the contract's no contract. But the donkey works, it's just not very fast. That's all. In fact, it's so slow you have to wait till the government gives it back. But either way, I still gave you a donkey. I fulfilled my contract. Mesa Nishra, but what if the animal dies? Okay, or if the animal breaks its leg? Okay, so then the so then the owner has to give another donkey because he didn't fulfill his contract. My shloshim the lemipra gave. My shloshim say we have a big problem. In the beginning of the Mishnah, it said, listen, if you took it if you changed, you went from the mountain to the valley to the mountain, it died. Okay, so the renter has to pay. Then afterwards, you gave me a thing. Well, it depends. If it slipped and if it this, so you made a decision. You made all different. So my say the little how come the beginning you didn't care whether it slipped or didn't slip? He said I have to pay. And in the end, he said no. It depends if it slipped or not. I'm going to Rav Yalai. So Rav Yalai said like this. Resha, in the opening of the Mishnah, he said no matter what, you have to pay. It's just the animal just died. Nothing happened. The animal was in a different atmosphere and it died. Okay, so since it died just for the change, the air in the valley is different than the air in the mountain. Okay, Amina, we say Amir Dahar Katla. We're going to say you changed, and it was the air, the atmosphere of the mountain that killed it. Amina, okay, Amir Dabika Katla. We say, well, the air of the valley killed it. You changed, that's all. The animal died. I say because you made a change. I told you to take it to the mountain. You took it to the valley. I told you to take it to the valley. Take it to the mountain. The different atmosphere killed this animal. My animal's a very sensitive animal. Okay, Yossi, my animal's a normal animal. That's what happened. Yossi Bachadira says no. Now, he's going to get a different answer. What's the difference between the beginning where we didn't care whether it slipped or not? You have to pay. If you have to pay, and the next part, he says what? In the first part we talked about what? Because it became fatigue. Okay, in other words, it became fatigue from carrying the load, and therefore we said what? Since it came fatigue from the load, if it changed from the valley to the mountain, I could say what? Because uh, um, the second it started climbing, okay, uh, it was tired from the load, okay? Uh, sorry, 1 second. Yeah. In other words, once it started getting fatigued because of the climb, it also was fatigued because of the load. Okay, the other way, if he changed, he took it to the valley. He says to him, "Listen," he said, had you been in the mountain, the good mountain air would have given it strength, and it would have been able to carry the load because you took it to the valley, and it doesn't have such fresh air as the mountain, so that's why it was fatigued. So there, he says, in the beginning makes no difference. The same point, similar to before. We said in the beginning, we just say essentially the change in atmosphere, we can always pin the death of the animal, okay, or the inability of the animal to carry. Rabba says what? Kigonchi kisha nachas. Rabba says no. Here's the difference. The first case is what we're bitten by a snake, and sometimes there are more snakes in the mountains. Sometimes there are more snakes in the valley. So whenever you made the change, he says got bit. Had you done what I told you, you wouldn't have gotten bitten. He says no. Whole news. He says the truth is it's a whole different opinion. He says the first case, okay, when we said that we don't care what the heck happened, it slipped, it didn't slip, who is that? That's the opinion of a man. That's Rameir. Anytime you change the opinion, anytime you change the instructions, so to speak, or the understanding of the owner, okay, how is the gazan? The person is liquid gazan, the person is a thief, and a thief is obligated even for accidental damage. The thief has to pay for everything. Once you stole it, even accidental, it died, whatever, you got to pay. So over here, what happened was this guy changed the instructions. Now, the Arab man, what's the word? Slow down. Slow down. You want to talk about because he changed the instructions. He's a thief and therefore he's responsible for accidents. Hi, Rebbe Meir. Which Rebbe Meir are you talking about? Now, I mentioned to you one, now we're researching which Rebbe Meir told us that whenever you change, you turn into a thief and you're responsible for accidents. Hi, Rebbe Meir. Elam, if you say what's the famous Rebbe Meir that we already mentioned before, Rebbe Meir the Tzabah, we talk about Rebbe Meir of the dyer. It's not where we learned that us in Summer Tzabah. The guy gave wool to a dyer. It's Bolo Adam. He told him to what to dye it red. Utzvo Shachar, and the guy dyed it black. Okay, Shachar, he told him to dye it black. Utzvo Adam, and the guy dyed it red. Rabbi Meir says, no, same lo made summer. Ironically, because he's a thief, he gets off easy. Why? He only has to pay back, he only pays in the price of the wool, whatever it was when he stole. Ironically, because he's a thief, he can gain. Why? Because since when he made, Sheena, when you make a change, a physical change, an active change in a thing, you acquire it as a thief. So the dyed wool becomes his. Dyed wool, he changed it from red to black. It says, and he only has to pay him back. And even though the wool he has may be worth 8, and it was only 4 when he stole it, doesn't matter. He pays back 4 and he's done. Ironically, because he's a thief, maybe he's going to actually make money on this deal. Okay, so that's Rav Meir. Okay, that was the opinion of Rav Meir. Rav Meir, okay, and Rav Yehuda Omer, but Rav Yehuda says what? Rav Yehuda says the opposite. He says no. He says we don't say that. He says he's not considered to be a thief. A lot of he didn't intend to. He never intended to acquire it, and he's not really a thief. Okay, but whether what he pays him back. He pays him back the wool. And then what about the rest? Look, he put out money to buy it, and also maybe it went up in price. He says, if the improvement in value is greater than the outlay for materials, okay, no saying less then he pays him for the materials. The and if the outlay for materials is greater than the increase in value, no saying less he gives him the increase in value. So because he's not a thief. Now, so you want to say what? Our mission is like Rabbi Meir. Just like Rabbi Meir said, when he changed from red to black, he became a thief. He says, what? He says, and that's why he's saying over here, he changed from valley to mountain. So he's a thief and he has to pay for everything, even accidental damage. He says, who says, maybe it's different over there. By the case of the dyer, the kind of machine of Maisa. Now, like I told you, he didn't become a thief because he didn't listen to instructions. He's a thief and he acquired it. Why? Because by making a physical change with his hands, he dyed it red or black. He changed it and he acquired it as a thief. Okay, but he doesn't become responsible for accidents merely for not listening to instructions. He has to make a legal acquisition. Okay, so you can't compare it to that case. Don't worry, no, I'll find another Rameir that'll say that. Maybe it's this case here. And this is a famous law by Purim Tzedakah. We give money on Purim so that the poor people can make a Purim suit. They make a nice Purim. So we collect money for the poor. The time you learn. Migbas, like when the rabbi, when the Gabbai Tzedakah collects money for the Purim suit, Migas Purim the Purim. Okay, when you collect money for Purim, it has to be given out on the day of Purim. You don't give it to you the Gabbai Tzedakah. You don't collect and give it to other things. You give it out for Purim on the day of Purim. That's the gears of the base Yosef. You give it out on Purim to the poor people. Migbas, okay, a year, when you collect money for the poor people of the city, Lo, so you have to go to the people of that city. The aim of adopting and when it comes to the poor money, since all the money, let's say you collected poor money to feed the poor, okay? So then you buy a lot of animals and you shecht them and you give out and you feed everybody. No, what do? You take all the money, okay? You don't worry about how much money you have and how many people there are. What? You take all the money that they collected before, you buy calves, you shock them, okay, and you shecht them, both of them, and the poor people eat them. Now, we have anything left over, you have leftover meat, you eat all the kids of tzedakah, so then you sell the leftovers, and that goes to the tzedakah fund. And you give everything, poor money goes to poor. And with Les Omer, make vas, okay, Purim, the Purim. He says no. He says what you collect for Purim has to go to the poor people for Purim. The Tanakhama said the same thing. The difference is what? He says not only can't the Gabbai change it, even the poor person can't change it, he says. You hear this? He's adding. Money that you collected for the poor person for Purim, the poor man also has to use it on Purim. He can't say, I'll save it for some other time. Even the poor man has to use it on Purim, according to this. Okay? Okay, he says, what? Therefore, the poor man who you gave money for poor man, you gave him poor meat, he can't take it to buy 2 litzes. Okay, unless he goes, he has to take the garbage truck and go in front of the local government. What's the Shevet over you? You get the old. What do? We find the 7 trustworthy men of the city, and you go in front of them. They represent the whole city. That's government, by the way, for Jews. That's what we do. You get a couple honest guys. People don't understand what government is. They have no idea. What we Jews do it like this. What's happened? Smart Jews know this. What do you do in the city? If I'm going to have a meeting on everything we do in the city, nobody's going to go to work and nobody's going to learn Torah. Every time we got to put in a sewer, the whole town's gonna have to meet and vote what kind of sewer, which contractor. Then tomorrow, which kind of stoplight. This stoplight, that you can't have a life. Nobody will learn Torah ever. So what do? You find a couple. This is how Jews work. We find a couple older guys, a couple of trustworthy guys. Okay, they're not dummies. They're intelligent and they're decent human beings. We vote them in. We say, you know what? All these decisions these guys are going to make. Am I going to agree with every decision? No. Some I'll like, some I won't like. But what's the point? Since they're honest guys and they're decent human beings, they'll make honest decisions. And even though I'll like some and I won't like all of them, since they're all decent decisions, rather than every single guy having to cancel his life every 10 minutes to figure out how to put a sewer or a window or a gate or a lock for the city, these guys will do it. You don't like them? Next time you got other guys you like better. What's the difference? But that's the way Jews do. That's a government for Jewish people. That's what we do. You understand? We want to cancel your life? 9th century village, right? But that's called the Shemitah over here. You know what I'm telling you is very important. It's very important what I'm telling you. That's how we do it. You get a couple honest guys. Of course, I don't like everything everybody does. I had a rule all my years. I had a rule with hiring. How to hire people. If I found a guy that doesn't make worse mistakes than me, I hire him. Why? I make mistakes. I had to live with my mistakes. If he doesn't make worse than me, I need a worker. If he doesn't make worse than me, I'll hire him. I live with mine. I'll live with his. I'm not going to pay a guy to make worse mistakes than me. I'm not doing that. But if I get a guy, he's not worse than I am, I'll hire him. You understand why? Because I'll live with myself. I'll live with him. But that's the theory of the Tovia. So I go in front of you have a couple. You want to have a town meeting every 2 minutes. So you go in front of the Tovia. You go in front of these guys. They make a decision for the city. You don't like them next time. Hire them. No, I vote somebody else in. You see what I'm saying? That's how government works for Jews. But the government is not the rabbis, and the government's not the king. You're talking about 2 different things. That's a different story. But you get governments to take care of the needs of the city. You have to have sewers, you have to have water lines, you have to have gas lines. Then you get a couple of honest guys to deal with it. That's all. That's how there's a cycle to it. If you're not an idiot, say that's right. You won't like every decision. So what? So what? But you got honest guys. That's good enough. Next thing, you don't like these guys. You get different honest guys. What's the difference? Okay. What I told you, very important. So he said what? Okay, so that was the opinion. Okay, Rabbi Shimon Gamliel. Okay, that was the opinion. Everything we said now, the first opinion and the opinion of Rabbi Lezer, that was Rabbi Yaakov who said the name of Rabbi Meir. Okay, so you can't make changes. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel make Rabbi Shimon Gamliel is lenient. Okay, and he says what? That the poor man, the money that you give him for poor, he can buy other things with it. So you see what the Mayor holds that what that you can't do it. Okay. So we see what we saw clearly that the prohibition of transgressing the instructions of the owner was Rabbi Meir. We said everything that you're not allowed to change. Whatever the owner said, that's what you have to do. Which is what that. Exactly. Right. Exactly. So therefore what? So he must say, yeah, get out of here. Dilma Hasam Nami says, I'd like to Purim. That may be a special case. Purim special because the simple Purim, you can't make any changes. Over there, it's clear. It's actually almost explicit. Clearly there, the whole thing was for Simchas Purim. He Mamish didn't give it to him. It's almost, you see what I'm saying? He didn't give it to him for that. He never gave it to him for that. It's explicit. It's for Purim. But the case of the mayor over here, mountain, this and that. Okay, probably. But that doesn't necessarily. Over that's special for Purim. What are you going to do with the donkey of the mountain and the donkey of the valley? Rabbi Meir, this Rabbi Meir is the one that says when you transgress, you're going to have to pay. The Tanya, Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar, Omer, Rabbi Meir, he said they were Meir. Nothing deal on ani, the kach l'cholot. The guy gave money to an ani to buy a cholot. A cholot is what we call it's like a long undershirt. It's a garment, but it's long. It's like a long undershirt. You see, to buy it like a robe. He gave him money to buy a chaluk. Lo yikach talis, he can't buy a talis. Now, talis is a cloak. Okay? Talis lo yikach lo chaluk. And if he gave money to buy a talis to wrap himself in, he shouldn't buy chaluk. He shouldn't buy a robe. Okay? Or like, what's the word in English? Is the word for it? Okay, like a long undershirt. If they should why shouldn't he do? Because he's transgressing the will of the owner. Okay, you see, Ramiro holds it, you can't change. Well, I said, hey, so what? That doesn't prove anything. And anytime you change, you're gonna have to pay. Oh, Dilma Shani, maybe it's different over there. Why? That's a special reason. You know why? Really theoretically, the poor man could change. Why doesn't he change? Because the poor man's going to cause the donor to become suspect in the eyes of the world. I mean, because people are saying, "I'm a planya, zevina levusha leplanya." What's happened was the donor had said, "I'm going to buy a levush for such and such a poor man." Now, what's a levush? Levush is from the word busha. Busha, like embarrassment. A levush just covers up your underwear. You understand? So that's a levush is a garment that you wear over your underwear to cover up your embarrassment. You understand? No, the other way. That's not a cloak. That's a garment. That's a garment. No, you're right, but that's a garment. Well, because the garment covers up your underwear. You wear it. The Lowe's oven lay, and everybody heard this guy what he's going to buy him a garment. The Lowe's oven lay didn't buy it because they see the guy. They don't see the guy wearing a garment. He got a talus. He got a cloak. So that's the point. Inami alternatively, Zavnina leglima. I'll buy him a glima. Now, a glima is the same thing. A glima. Why is a glima a cloak or a talus called a glima? Remember the word golem? A golem, the modern literatures, when you make a man out of mud. You understand? But remember, a golem is an unformed blob. It's an unformed blob. So a golem, when you wear a shirt, I can see your arms, your legs. You wear a shirt, I see your arms, you got legs. When a person wears a cloak, they look like a blob. You don't see arms or legs.
More like a cape.
Yeah, like a cape. Yeah, a cloak or a cape, right? Like a cape, exactly. So then you don't see any arms. So the guy looks like a blob. So a glima, which is the word for like a talus or a cloak, called a glima, because it turns the guy into a blob. So what happened? He promised him a glima. Okay, well, those other didn't buy it because since the guy bought a garment, everybody sees that. What the problem is that everybody heard, so to speak, the donor say he's going to do something, and we don't see the poor man has what he has. So it could be over there. No, it's not because in general you can't change what the owner said. Over there's a particular reason the poor man can't change because it's going to hurt the donor by changing, but otherwise not. In Canada said not. He says if that were really true, our mayor says what? Our mayor doesn't really hold you can't change, but it was special for the case of the poor man. Listening with Nechashad, it should say clearly what? It should say you're not allowed to change because you're going to cause suspicion on the donor. As he said explicitly, the reason you can't do it is because you are transgressing the will of the owner. Okay, not here what? Okay, mishum deshaniyu. Okay, that the reason is the prohibition because you're changing. You're not allowed to change. We call it mavral. That's bias tikra. And anybody who changes the instructions of the owner is a thief by definition. Now, okay, how are we doing? We still have time? No, it's late. Okay, we'll stop. She started late, actually. What do you say? Yeah, keep going? Yeah, let's finish up. Okay, for sure. That's for sure. Well, that's 2 lines. Yeah. Okay. So now he said if a guy got a chamer Rika, the really Rika, what happened though? We don't. I told you the answer is it makes the animal slow. But what's a Rika mean? How did it make it slow? Okay. So he says my Rika. What do you mean Rika? What do you mean it got made? What happened? What's a Rika? So here they in Babel they translate Nahorisa. It has to do with seeing. Light. Everything. All words of light have to do with seeing. Nahorisa. It got a white blotch in the eye, so you can't see well. It goes very slowly. Avzekas. Avzekas is worms. He got worms in its feet, and it can't walk well. Either way, it's slow. It's slow because it can't see well. It's slow because it can't walk well because of the worm. And we're going to see this word of Avzekas is something about being wormy. Ahuda Amarlu, there was a certain guy. His job was to guard the treasury of the king. So he said to the people in charge of him, Avzekas b'milsa demalka. I saw moths, worms in the moths in the garments of the king. They said to him, "B'mai." He said, "Which garments did you see it in?" He said, "Betlei klesav." He says, was it in the so silver garments means what? Was it in the flaxen garments? So betlei zar, or was the golden garments, which means what? The red garments. Was the flaxen garments or the red wool garments? Ikadama, some people say with Lake Kesavarma, some people say that what he said was he saw it in the silver garments and the flax, but and they killed him because there's no there, apparently moths don't get into that. It doesn't happen. He's a liar. Moths don't get into that. Ikadama said what happened was with Lake Dahabama, he said it was in the red wool garments for Shavkua, and they let him because that really happens. But the main point is we saw that language of Obzekas has to do with becoming wormy. Okay, we'll give you the next question. It's not a problem. All right, it's cost everybody. Yeah,
We were talking before about no, reading the labels and knowing what's in the product.
yeah,
Well, 1966, my brother and I, we went to we had a group for 2 weeks in Israel
yeah.
and a week in Europe. 4
Uh,
days in Paris and 3 days in Amsterdam. My brother had read something about in France what they do.
Yeah.
Because with the milk. With the, you said,
Yeah.
you said milk, you drink milk. Well, you say all the time, I have to do it.
Factory milk. Factory milk. Yeah.
So we're working on this week, and think who we go for my brother can go.
Oh, they do. Yeah. Right. So that was good to everybody. Yeah. I like this. That's ridiculous. No. On the can. Are they good? Yeah, the factory's doing it. Who's that for that? What? Right, right. Actually, what happened was it was a fair. Right, number one, they didn't get started for 15 minutes late. Number two, the quality of the sound was problematic until they changed, did something with the microphone. So he just set it up to go. Yeah. No, no. No, there was something else I was going to tell you that needs to be corrected. Now I'm going to look for it, and I bet I won't find it.